And a very happy afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess with Maximizing Results, bringing you back to Think and Grow Rich. Now, up to this point, we've laid the foundation. Desire, faith, self-suggestion, right? What do you really want? Have you developed the faith in your own ability to get what you want? And you do that through the principle of self-suggesting. What are you telling yourself about yourself? And then we talked about specialized knowledge. What specialized knowledge do you need to acquire for yourself? And then what specialized knowledge do you need to surround yourself with the individual units of your mastermind group? Now, we'll get to the power of the mastermind in chapter 10. More on that in a little while. And we talked about imagination. And there's two types of imagination, one being synthetic imagination, where all we really do is rearrange old concepts and ideas into new forms and then present the new forms. And then there's the creative imagination, which we're told is the connecting link between us and what Napoleon says is infinite intelligence. Now, you can use infinite intelligence or God or whatever word you want to use, but basically we're talking about the same thing. So up to this point, we've got a foundation laid. We know that we don't want to be the jack of all trades and master of none. None of that works. So just being full of general knowledge isn't going to get us where we want to go. And then we've learned that imagination, to use our creativity in rearranging old concepts and ideas, and then open the creative imagination so we can get the answers that for whatever reason don't seem to be present in our mind at the time. Now, organized planning is the longest chapter in the book. It has more pieces in this chapter and more really good points that we want to go over. So we'll probably be on organized planning for several parts. Now, in this first part, we want to talk about is the crystallization of desire into action. That's what he talks about. But in this chapter, once again, he hits on responsibility, the power of organized capital, and a couple of other subjects that we really want to make sure that we touch on. Now, he says that you have learned that everything that we create or acquire begins in the form of desire. He says that desire is taken on the first lap of its journey from the abstract to the concrete. Now, I didn't even know what that meant, from the abstract to the concrete. What the hell are you talking about, Napoleon? Well, abstract is no form. Concrete is giving it form. So that desire is taking on its first lap of its journey from the abstract, no form, to concrete, the form, into the workshop of the imagination where plans for its transition are created. So we have to go into the imagination to arrange the plan. Now remember, step 4 in the 6 steps. Step 4 is to create a definite plan to begin at once, whether you're ready or not. And let's make sure we all understand none of us are ready, because we just have to make sure the plan is perfect. And we don't want to take action immediately before the plan is perfect. How about if we do this? Begin right where we are with what we have. Begin right where you are with what you have. How about if we do that? He says in chapter 2 you were instructed, and then he's going into that, to take 6 definite steps as your first move in translating the desire for money into its monetary equivalent. And step 4 was the formation of a definite practical plan or plans through which this transformation may be made. And then he says this: you will now be instructed how to build plans which will be practical. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without imagination, I read this book for years. And I kept going into this chapter, and I kept reading, going, Napoleon, where is my plan? I know what I want. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to serve. Where's my plan to get that done? Well, how could Napoleon Hill possibly give me the plan for my desire when he wrote this book in 1937 and I wasn't born until 1964? I mean, see how silly we get in our own mind about how he should be giving me what I think I need? Right here it says, you will now be instructed how to build plans which will be practical. I read this book over and over again, and I just kept blowing past that. Step 1. Don't miss these steps. They're so critical. Please don't miss these. Step 1. Ally yourself with a group of as many people as you may need for the creation and carrying out of your plan or plans for the accumulation of money, making use of the mastermind principle described in a later chapter. We'll describe the mastermind principle in chapter 10. But you want to get a group of people together. Once again, you're not the jack of all trades, master of none. Nobody ever created anything of any value all by themselves. They might have created the idea by themselves, but to bring it into fruition, to bring it into reality, that takes a group of people working in harmony. That's where we go next. He says, before forming this mastermind alliance, so before you do this, you need to decide what advantages or benefits that you may offer the individual members of this group. Nobody will work for free indefinitely. However, the compensation that you offer doesn't always have to be materialistic. And very often, psychic compensation is much more valuable than material compensation. Now, you have to actually go through the process here to understand exactly what Napoleon just said, what I just said there. The psychic compensation and the psychic reward that we receive by being a part of a group like this could benefit you dramatically in other ways of your life that you don't even realize right now. Step 3, arrange to meet with the members of this group at least twice a week and more often if possible until you have jointly perfected the plan or plans for the accumulation of money. So in other words, get together a lot. And with the advent of technology that we have today, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you can fire up your computer, you can have virtual meetings from anywhere in the world. So you can get together easily a couple of times a week until the plan or plans that you need to acquire or accumulate the desired amount of money are concrete. They're definite. Well, they may not be concrete, but they'll be definite. Now, as you move forward implementing your plan, it's okay to make adjustments to the plan. Remember, once you take the first step, it'll be obvious, or certainly more obvious, where the second step is. But until we take that first step, ladies and gentlemen, the second step may not show up. That's why he says in the fourth step in the 6 steps in chapter 2, begin at once whether you're ready or not. Begin at once whether you're ready or not. The fourth step in this is critical. It's absolutely critical, and I made this mistake dramatically for about a 10-year period of time. I was trying to force harmony where harmony did not exist. He says this: maintain perfect harmony between yourself and every member of your mastermind group. If you fail to carry out this instruction to the letter, you may expect to meet with failure. If you fail to carry this instruction to the letter, you may expect to meet with failure. The mastermind principle cannot obtain where perfect harmony does not prevail. Now, perfect harmony just means simply this. It's very easy to know whether you have perfect harmony in your mastermind group. At the time of the mastermind group, everybody's got to be able to lock their minds together for one thing, one answer, to whatever it may be. Now, if you're working with people on a project, everybody that's working on that project has to have the same definite major objective, whatever that is. It has to be definite. It has to be very clear in everyone's mind. And if you'll do that, and you'll have that type of harmony, oh, you'll realize your goals much faster than you thought you could have, much faster. He says, keep in mind these facts. First, you're engaged in an undertaking of major importance to you. To be sure of success, you must have plans that are faultless. Now, he uses those words here, but understand this. Your plans will be adjusted. You don't know exactly how to plan it all out, but plan enough to get started, and then make the adjustments to make your plans faultless, okay? Second, you must have the advantage of experience, education, native ability, and the imagination of other minds. He says this is in harmony with the methods followed by every person who has accumulated a great fortune. And remember, at the time of this writing, he had been studying successful people well over 30 years. Successful people and people of failures. People who accumulated a lot of money, people who accumulated no money. People who seemingly had all the breaks in life, people who seemingly had no breaks in life. He studied them both. So once again, until we can prove Napoleon Hill wrong, let's just go with it. He says this, he says, no individual has sufficient experience, education, native ability, or knowledge to ensure the accumulation of a great fortune without the cooperation of other people. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire or a self-made multimillionaire or mega millionaire. They all have people working in harmony with them. All of them. All of them. He says, if the first plan you adopt doesn't work successfully, replace it with the new plan. He's telling us that right here. He says, if this new plan fails to work, replace it in turn with still another, and so on until you find a plan that does work. He says, right here is the point in which the majority of men meet with failure because of their lack of persistence in creating new plans to take the place of the old plans that failed. Now, remember the whole Henry Ford thing? The piece of the Henry Ford thing I'm talking about now is when he demanded to have a V8 motor, and the really smart people looked at him and said, oh, that's impossible. They didn't have the right plan. They didn't even know how to produce the darn thing. He said the most intelligent person living cannot succeed in accumulating money nor in any other undertaking without plans which are practical and workable. He said, just keep this fact in mind and remember when your plans fail that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. Temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It's just a little setback, man. I don't know about y'all, but when I get over a speed bump, I hit the gas. So temporary defeat is like a speed bump. When you get over it, hit the gas. Go again. Build new plans. Go again. Thomas Edison failed. How many times did this guy fail? Over and over and over again. And everybody knew at the time, everybody knew that you could put two wires in there, little filament wire, that you could put electricity through those wires and they would glow red. Everybody knew that. But everybody also knew that they would burn out. I mean, just a matter of moments, the heat would burn right through the wire. So it wasn't a matter of figuring out how to get light. It was a matter of figuring out how to stop this thing from burning. 10,000 times Thomas Edison tried to figure out how to stop this thing from burning, and he couldn't figure it out. Well, think about it for a minute. All he did was remove the oxygen. He was thinking about science one day. He says, second grade science, if you remove the oxygen, you can't have combustion. You can't have fire. Holy smokes, let's do this. Let's put a bulb over this filament. Let's remove all the oxygen, and then let's light it up and see what happens. And there you have the incandescent light bulb. Once again, you take every bit of that, ladies and gentlemen, and that's all synthetic imagination. None of that was creative imagination. And now he was being creative to find the solution. And he used his creative imagination to come up with the solution. But all of those pieces were already here. Temporary defeat should mean only one thing, the certain knowledge that there is something wrong with the plan. He says millions of people go through life in misery and poverty because they lack a sound plan through which to accumulate a fortune. And then he brings up Henry Ford. He says Henry Ford accumulated a fortune not because of his superior mind, but because he adopted and followed a plan which proved to be sound. He says this next, 1,000 men could be pointed out, each with a better education than Ford's. Each with a better education than Ford's. Yet each of whom lives in poverty because he does not possess the right plan for the accumulation of money. Do you have a plan for the accumulation of money? Just asking. He says this next, and man, I got this one underlined and highlighted and everything else. He says, your achievement can be no greater than your plans are sound. Our achievement can be no greater than our plans are sound. I'm going to have to get a new book. This one's falling apart. This is how much I use the books. I don't just leave books lay around. It's falling apart. We'll keep it together. I got a new one in the box over there. I do. So, how well are your plans? He says, no person is ever whipped until he quits in his own mind. No person is ever whipped until they quit in their own mind. If the plan didn't work out, create a new plan and go again. If what you want to do is noble, just, and meritorious, if what you want to do isn't violating the rights of anybody else, why would you not create a new plan and begin again? It's where the majority of people fail. The majority of people just quit. Why? Because it went over a speed bump? Says this, he says, no follower of this philosophy can reasonably expect to accumulate a fortune without experiencing temporary defeat. He says, when defeat comes, accept it as a signal that your plans are not sound. Rebuild those plans and set sail once more towards your coveted goal. If you give up before your goal has been reached, you are a quitter. He says, a quitter never wins and a winner never quits. Lift this sentence out, write it on a piece of paper in letters an inch high. Well, I think that's more than an inch high. And put it where you'll see it all the time. Now, I want to clarify what Napoleon means when he says a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. He's talking about quitting on yourself. More than anything else, do not quit on yourself. Now, there are some endeavors that you and I have gotten involved in over our lives, and it's a good damn thing we quit. There are some things you should quit. So don't take this so literal that, you know, walking into this wall will eventually get me to the outside. I just have to go through the drywall and then through whatever wind insulating stuff there and the insulation and then the brick veneer, and then eventually I'll get to the outside. I should quit doing that and go through the door over there. So there are times when quitting is the right thing to do, but you should never quit on yourself. You should never quit learning. You should never quit discovering from within. You should never stop growing from within. He says some people foolishly believe that only money can make money. This is not true. He says desire transmuted into its monetary equivalent through the principles laid down here is the agency through which money is made. Money of itself is nothing but inert matter. It cannot move, think, or talk, but it can hear. When a person who desires it calls it to come. Now, that doesn't mean we can sit back in our chair and, did $1 million show up in the bank account yet, honey? No. What he's talking about here is something that took me a long time to understand and realize. Ladies and gentlemen, if all we're doing is out there chasing money, chasing money, chasing money, chasing money, chasing money, chasing money, probably living a miserable life. Just chasing the dollar. We have to get beyond that. As we go through this book, then we continue through this book, we will realize how easy it is to understand that chasing money we will never catch. Learning to attract money and let it chase us. It's a different philosophy, it's a different way of thinking, and it's different for the majority of the way all of us have been taught in the formal education that most of us have all gone through. But I can only tell you from my own experiences, that's the way it works. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That's just part one of this, and we are just getting started in this chapter. We greatly appreciate you sharing this with your friends and your family. Have them come on by. We're looking to help as many people as we can understand the principles and the simplicity of them so they can implement them into their lives. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Joe. Without Joe, we wouldn't be here. And it's the inspiration of Joe that keeps us going. And it was really how this all began. Joe sent me a simple text. And he said, begin right where you are with what you have. Where have we heard that before? Begin right where you are with what you have. So we began right where we were with what we have, and that's what we're doing right now. Hopefully you'll enjoy this. Push the subscribe button, push the like button, share with all your friends. Go out to Facebook, leave us a comment. Tell us what we're doing good. Tell us how we can improve this. We would greatly appreciate that. As always, one of our greatest desires is for this day to be the very best day you have ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter. It's ancient history at this time. Tomorrow isn't here, can't do anything about it except plan for it and be prepared to receive the good we desire by delivering service first. So we can live today and allow this to be the best. Tonight when you put your head on a pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Remember, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom, and may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day.